Blake is with us in Indiana. Hi, Blake. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Well, I started a business back in 2017 with a partner, and I was the only one who personally guaranteed all the loans for the business. And the business has since failed, and I've actually retained a bankruptcy attorney. But I discovered you about 3 weeks ago, and after listening to you, I'm wondering if I can dig myself out of this without bankruptcy.
Okay. How much debt and what kind of debt have you got left over from the business?
So there's about I've got $130,000 in debt total. $55,000 of that is credit cards that I personally guaranteed for the business.
Mm-hmm.
We were a car dealership, so I've got $16,000 left over to my floor plan lender. I've got $10,000 in an equipment lease, and probably another $5,000 left over to miscellaneous vendors.
Mm-hmm.
And then I personally have an auto loan and a boat loan.
Mm-hmm. And what do you owe on your car?
$25,000.
What do you owe on your boat?
$18,000.
Okay. All right. And what's your income now?
$70,000.
Okay. Are you married?
No.
Okay. Single. All right.
Yep.
Well, in a bankruptcy, you're not going to keep the boat and the car unless you keep the debt.
Right.
And so both of those are gone in either scenario.
Right.
You sell them and you get rid of the debt, or you give them up in bankruptcy and you get rid of the debt, whichever direction you go. Okay.
Right.
How long are you behind on the credit cards?
I quit paying on everything other than the truck and the boat in September. So my floor plan lender's already secured a judgment against me. American Express has just filed a lawsuit against me, and so did Discover.
Perfect. Okay, that's good. All right. Well, you might make it out of this. I mean, you sell the boat and sell the car, and you're on beans and rice. And
Sure.
Let's just pretend that each one of those that you went to the floor plan lender and you said, I don't have $16,000. I have saved up $4,000, and I'll give you that if you want to take that as settlement.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say you went through and you settled all of this for a quarter on the dollar. Well, that'd be somewhere around $30,000 it'd take you, and you could probably do that in making $70,000 as a single guy. You could probably do that in a year if you got rid of the boat and the car.
Sure.
Right? And could you come up with $50,000? Because some of them wouldn't take a quarter on the dollar. Yeah, but it's probably going to take a little longer than a year. It may take longer than a year to negotiate with all these people.
Right.
And the emotional stress and the amount of emotional abuse that you take through the process is unbelievable.
Yeah, I've kind of dealt with a little of that already.
Yeah, they just are ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
And so what I did, I actually had a $3 million worth of debt, and I had worked it all the way down to $378,000 before I filed. I almost made it, and that was back in my 20s, and I wasn't as tough then as I am now, and I didn't know then what I know now. So it probably has more to do with whether or not you have enough emotional and spiritual gas left in your tank to fight like a maniac for 1 year really hard.
Yeah.
If you could suck it up and do that for 1 year and you just argue with morons, which is what you're going to be doing, it's not negotiating, it's arguing with morons. And going, listen, I have $4,000. Well, we'll take $7,000. Maybe you didn't understand. What is English your second language? I mean, I said $4,000. That's all I have. These are the conversations you're going to have over and over and over again. I mean, you're thinking to yourself, are your parents cousins? I mean, why can't you understand this sentence? And you just kind of have to have fun with it, and you just beat the snot out of them, because in a bankruptcy, here's what they're going to get: zero.
Right.
So anything you give them is a bonus.
Sure.
And you're not lying to them. You don't have $100,000 sitting in an account, or you would have not called me. You would have paid the bills.
Exactly.
So you're saying, I have $5,000. Who wants it first?
Okay.
And settle each one of these. I would recommend that if I was going to work really hard on the first two, I would get rid of the equipment lease and the floor plan people. American Express is all bark and no bite. They're so full of crap. You can tell they're lying if their mouth's moving. It's a horrible company. And their collections people break federal law on a daily basis. They're just outrageous.
Yeah.
And so you have to learn to just hang up the phone and have a conversation another day. If you feel your blood pressure moving up, just go, they're getting to me. They're winning this argument. I need to get off the phone. This is a simple conversation. I have this much money. Do you want it?
Okay.
As settlement in full, you have to get it in writing and never give them electronic access to your checking account, because they lie, they will clean you out.
Right.
But if you can afford, how many different credit cards are there in the 55?
There's probably 8 or 9.
Okay. And so let's say there's 10 creditors with the floor plan and the lease, right?
Yep.
And so there's 10 people we have to get to come to terms with. 10 battles I have to win, and then I win the war.
Right.
And if you've got any that are super small, that are like $1,000, pay it.
Yeah, there's several of those.
Yeah, just pay it and get it out of your life.
Yeah.
But if it hadn't been paid since September, you've still got to get in writing what the balance is, or they'll come back and have tripled it with collections fees and stuff.
Right. Which a lot of them, they've quit adding fees onto them at this point, since they're all going to lawsuits.
But I mean, they're not going to go. If they're small ones, they're not going to lawsuit. The American Express bill must be large.
There's 2 American Express cards. One's $13,000, one's $11,000.
Yeah, if they're north of 10, they will eventually go to a lawsuit. But there's not a lot they can do with that. Most of the time, they take it to same thing with your floor plan company. They take it to judgment lien, and it just sits there. Then if you ever want to buy a house or ever want to sell a house or something like that, it's hard. Some of them will go so far as to garnish your wages, but almost never.
Okay.
Now, the equipment lease and the floor plan are more likely to do that than credit cards. Credit cards are just, they just yep. They're just like a barking feist dog. They just drive you nuts. And you're really not dealing with intelligent life there. This is some of the dumbest humans on the planet when you're dealing with a credit card collector.
Sure.
And you've already discovered that at American Express, I'm sure.
And several others.
Yeah. And Discover is just, they're moronic.
Yeah.
And so you just have to keep going. Listen, number one, we're not going to have an abusive conversation, or you're going to listen to a dial tone. Number two, there's some basic tenets of the conversation. Here's what I've got. I don't have any more. You using a technique is not going to make me grow money. I don't have money. This is what I have. Do you want it? Listen, one more time, and then I'm going to hang up. Do you want the money? And then just hang up and call back, 5 days later and do it again, And it's just, if you can do all that, I think you can get out of this. I don't think you're bankrupt. But it may drive you to the edge of insanity before you get it done.
Right.
It's just, you have to turn it into a game, because it's such a ludicrous series of conversations. I mean, the way they treat us, and we don't even owe them money. We're negotiating on behalf of the customer. We're calling up trying to settle something for some widow or something, one of our coaches here, and they're like trying to yell at us. We're like, listen, you're an idiot. I'm not talking to you if you're going to yell. And we just hang up the phone on them,
Right.
And they call and yell at our receptionist and stuff. I mean, it's just crazy. So it's a weird little world that they all live in. You're trying to do the right thing and give them some money. I think you can work your way through this if you got enough gas left in your tank, okay?
Okay, awesome.
You need some help, you call me back. I'll be happy to. It's what I'm here for. Help you any way I can. Been there myself. I had those exact same conversations on my own behalf. One of the reasons I hate American Express so bad. Unbelievable. Yeah, they told my wife one time, why would you stay with a man who won't pay his bills? She called me crying because she was kind of thinking the same thing.